Today we're going to talk about artists and what it means to be like an artist and blah 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 and the inside of the artist's mind. I'm right here right now with Ericka Shriner. She is a video artist, performance artist, and she writes books, and she does her best to make a living with all this.
Yeah.
Right?
And I guess I was just thinking there's community stuff too.
And community stuff.
Like the open mic or the magazine, like creating a platform for other artists.
Oh, that's right. You do an open mic.
Yeah.
The last one is coming up. This December. What is it? What is the open mic called? What do you call it?
Living Volume Open Mic.
Why is this your last one?
Because the gallery is closing.
Oh, are you gonna do it anywhere else?
Maybe, but I'm gonna take a break and just focus on making my movie and then.
Oh, that's right. Right now you're making a feature film.
Yes.
I myself would never like. I do the short films.
Uh-huh.
I one time attempted to try to do a feature film, and wrote a 70-page script, and I never finished it. How do you find to do the motivation and inspiration to do such a long and stay consistent with it? How do you?
Yeah, I guess just like those voices in my head that are like, do something, make a bigger thing. I've made a ton of short videos or video art. I guess the kinds of videos that we make are different. Mine are like avant-garde, sort of slow, ethereal, feminine, like VHS video art.
Well, you could check it out on Analog Cinema on YouTube.
Yeah. Or Ericka Shriner.
ErickaShriner.com. Check it out. It's really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I'm always trying to challenge myself. That's the biggest thing.
Uh-huh.
And so making a feature. This is my second feature that I'm working on that we just shot. Your scene, Matthew is just in it, also.
Oh yeah, I'm in her feature film, by the way. Yes.
So it's like, I expect these to take a year or 2 years, likely 2 years to make an entire feature because I'm slow, and I'm a perfectionist. Or I have like my vision. I want it to be like that. I don't know.
And the inspiration comes from the challenge? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I guess each project has its own inspiration. Like this one, a lot of it's technology. I mean, the specific story is based around that. But you mean the inspiration for just keep going?
Yeah, for a long project, 2 years. I've done, my longest project is this movie called Love Comes Out of Butt. It's a 20-minute movie. It took me 8 months to make.
Yeah, so I guess you can relate. Like it takes a long time.
Yeah, but you're doing a project that's going to take you like a year or two.
Yeah. Well, I started writing it in 2015.
Ah.
I think part of it is I have like smaller projects in between to get that kind of like fix of finishing a project that I sometimes need. But then staying on a longer project is what gives me more like meaning in my life.
Oh, okay.
To make this like feature, then it's, I definitely have a greater sense of accomplishment making a feature film than a short film or a music video. But those can be really important because they can give me a sense of accomplishment too.
And this is a good point, like the sense of being an artist and the sense of accomplishment. Would you say it would be more, it's like you're doing the work because it's more for you, and it is for other people, to inspire other people, but
sure.
But in a way, it's almost like, the way I see it with my work is like, yeah, I did all this stuff, but it's like I'm really doing this for my own enlightenment or something.
Yeah, and fulfillment. Like it's like, well, there's the, you know, if I'm not making art, and I know you feel this way too, but I will feel pretty down, or it's hard for, and I think it's so unfortunate at times, but I do have a hard time just like loving myself if I'm not making art.
I actually experienced a similar thing.
Yeah.
I actually, I'm like, yeah, I start to be like, I'm like, what am I doing with myself? Why am I not putting stuff out there? I mean, it's crazy how long you could be in a vegetative state of not doing anything.
Yeah.
If you let yourself.
I have this idea though that maybe you also can relate to, of like, I should, or I'm supposed to be okay with that. Like, oh, like our souls are valuable, and do I need to be so caught up in productivity? You know, what if we're all sort of equally valuable souls existing out there, then maybe I should be okay just not making art. But I need to, and you need to.
You don't need to. I mean, well, we can live without making art, but I mean, you were making a good point here. Like, our art's not out there. Let's say it's not out there, and is it gonna actually affect the world or not? And I mean, the truth is, whatever you put out there, it affects the world. So
yeah.
So it is important when you do it and you put your moment and your space into it.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you don't do it, of course it's not important either.
Right.
But there's an inside calling. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like on a personal level. Maybe on like a philosophical level I can argue it's not necessary or something. I don't know. But personally, like I don't know that I could live without doing it, is the thing. Like, if I don't do it, I get really depressed. And it might be some external circumstance at this point. Like, I've been working on my art for years, but maybe moving or something will cause me to not make art for a small amount of time, like a month. Mm-hmm. Not really the way that I was. And then I'll get really depressed and like question everything. Am I even an artist? You know, what's my identity? Do I deserve to be alive? Do I want to be alive? Like these kinds of things. And then I'm like, oh, I need to start making stuff again. And it's really the only thing that kind of gives me a sense of peace.
Mm-hmm. It's like a sense of balance.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think like if I were on an island, if I was the last person alive, like I would still be making art, you know?
Right. You'd still be creating something. You wouldn't have the thing of viewers or right. people to see it, or your fans or whatever. But
what about you?
Would I be making? That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know what? When I'm alone, it's almost like I guess I do make myself for the people. I mean, I make it for the people. It gives me like a little buzz to show something for the people. I don't know if I ever, because when I first started before I did performance art, I first started to do short films and stuff, and I would put all that hard work, and I would originally I worked with 2 VCRs, and I just put hours and hours of it in the editing. And it was the only thing that made me so excited to do that is that one release. And the release is boom. It's there, it's gone, it's done. It takes like as long as a movie, 5 minutes, movie's over. Like, what did I spend? Like 8 months, 20-minute movie, big screening, it's over.
Yeah.
So if I was on an island, I wouldn't. Maybe I would start just meditating. Maybe I'm different in that way. Maybe I do it for myself, but I do it for the people too. So.
Your art, there's a definite relationship with the audience. Like part of your art is your relationship with the audience, I guess.
Yeah, because they inspired how I improv and stuff.
Yeah, and my art's different. I like make it and then give it to the audience. But my art isn't based on or dependent on that interaction.
So you could actually, you're saying you could actually, you don't have to ever, you're when you're doing your art, you experience your enlightenment.
Kind of. What I really try to do is like not think about the audience. Because I don't want the idea of what people want to affect what I want. And I think only Ericka Shriner can be Ericka Shriner. So like what Matthew prefers to see in Ericka Shriner's work, like Matthew should put that in Matthew's work, you know? And that if and I don't think this is how it should be for everybody, this is just how it is for me, but like what I have to say is something only I can say, so I'm saying it. And I'm trying to be as much myself as I possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard to be who you are, but to like be that thing and then make a movie encompassing that. And I don't have anybody telling me what to do. It's not like I'm doing commercial filmmaking and making a movie and there's some producer who wants me to make a certain amount of money at the box office. Like I don't have any pressure. There's no pressure. So I can really just go in and find that thing and get weird and do it exactly how I want to do it. You know? And maybe some people like it and some people don't, but I don't want to think about that too much.
Well, yeah, when I'm doing my projects, I try not to think what people are thinking of. The only thing that is this entertaining enough? Will this create an emotion from the audience? That's the thing I think about. Like, I don't necessarily want to. Well, I want them to like the work, but it shouldn't matter because maybe I'll create work that people, their emotional responses, I hate this, or it makes me angry,
right,
or it makes me feel awkward. I don't like feeling awkward, or you know. But I think you know, it's good intention not to think about the audience, but keep them in the mind, maybe near the end, final stages. Or?
Yeah, I think about them like when I'm editing. Then sometimes I make shorter choices. Because if it were me, I can watch slow footage forever. And I get just really taken by beautiful slow footage, and it's what I want to see, but then I realize, oh, people don't have that kind of attention span. Not everyone wants to watch a slow thing for a really long time.
But no, I like slow things too. But when I put in a slow thing, it's like the pacing, like I'd want to mix it with something,
a fast thing than a slow thing.
Yeah, like a rhythm kind. Like that's another thing that people tune into with editing is it's like a music. It's like music. It's like a rhythm.
Yeah. So are you performing much these days?
No, I haven't been performing. I had like a stomach problem.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. We don't have, I mean, well, actually it's not just a stomach problem. It's just like you get burned out like with the whole like street thing. You know, I want to do something different. So now I want to be more of a video artist. That's I'm going into the video art level. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to do street stuff, videotape it, document it, send it out there and make, you know, I'm in this stage where I want to make short masterpieces and just vomit them out there. Like I just made one. I didn't release it yet, but it'll be released. Is two heads are better than one, and I took another artist and I taped my head with his head, and we.
You put this on YouTube?
It's gonna be released on Monday.
Oh wow!
So this will probably be in the past, But it took me like a week and a half to edit it. But it was only like 30-40 minutes of footage.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to just be able to be faster. I'm on this thing, like I want to make masterpieces faster, shorter amount of time, put it out there, because it's like this thing, and I don't know if it's spiritual. It's almost like an addiction, an obsession, and addiction, like a drug. Like put it out there, release, see if people like it or hate it or whatever. What were you gonna say?
I don't know if I was going to say anything. I'm just thinking about it. Are you worried that it might be too much content? That the audience might need time to miss you?
What do you mean, like 3 times a week?
Is that what you're doing?
Well, I'm getting old files together and releasing something 3 times a week. What do you mean, like too much content?
Like, if your viewers don't have time to miss you, like if you're putting out more content than they have time to watch.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like in this world is you just put stuff out there, and then there's a cycle of people who are gonna watch you maybe on Monday, every other Monday, and then there's a cycle that people might watch you every other Wednesday. So I just put it Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. I might reduce it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's maybe who knows if it's too much. I don't know. It's all about like, well, it's the enlightenment, the process that I've chosen for my enlightenment.
Do you feel like enlightenment is as important or more important than making art, or do you feel like they're like the same thing?
They're the same thing. It's all connected to your it's all connected to your path.
And is your goal like to become enlightened? Enlighten?
No, you already are enlightened.
Okay.
The goal is to become as close to whatever this is as possible.
To become as much yourself as you can be?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. And you already are yourself.
Yeah.
You already are yourself.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, you're doing it, and it's probably the most important thing for your soul.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more you involve yourself with people, the more you involve yourself with systems. You know, like I'm working with the YouTube system. It's like a weird system where now they're dealing with this thing called COPA, where you're not allowed to have children, you know, content for children, whatever that means. And now, you know,
you're not allowed to have content for children?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't completely understand it. But it's like part of your enlightenment. How much do you fold for that? How much do you know, like maybe you want to shoot a movie with a child and the inspiration of what it's like to, you know, but now you can't shoot because then it'll be child content, and then you'll get in trouble because you're trying to attract children to your channel. I see, but you got like all these things, like everything is for you to teach yourself to learn, like you just said, to learn, for you to love yourself, to be yourself more, to be more authentic of yourself, because all throughout your whole life there's going to be somebody telling you can't do that, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Another person, okay, this is like shaky ground, I guess, but this a transgender person. I have a video where I wasn't thinking transgender, and I was just thinking, like I was pregnant.
I was going to ask you about this actually, because I saw the comments.
Yeah, I was pregnant, and I gave birth. The video, at the end of the video, I gave birth to technology, but I was pregnant, and a transgender person just saw that I was pregnant and said, they linked in their brain that I was making fun of transgender people. And I said, I see what you're saying.
I'll take it into account going forward.
Going forward, because I didn't want to get into any kind of debate with this person, because my honest truth is I know from pure heart that that was not
right
transgender, and to me it's becoming like it's too shaky. Like once you start like labeling yourself because of this and that. I don't want to talk about the trans. I don't know the transgender community because I'm not transgender, but I think if like to me it's not targeted. Maybe in the future now there'll be no videos about pregnant people, but what do you think? Because it's too much. I think it's I mean, if I were to talk to a transgender person, I'd say this is too much. You know, this has nothing to do. I don't see the connection, and I don't think there was ever a connection until somebody. It's I don't know. Can you tell me? Can you help me out here?
I don't know. I mean, I have like personal opinions, but I tend to like shy away from any personal opinions I have about other people on social media, because I feel like there will always be someone who will disagree and who can vilify you for those opinions about people that you are not. And I don't want to. I mean, as a person who has good intentions and like cares about everybody, you know, it's a hard thing to talk about.
No, you're right. It is a hard thing to talk about. I just let out my opinion a little just now, and maybe there's going to be repercussions. I'm going to be vilified.
Maybe but I think people know that you're a good guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like doing your best to perform. I think like putting yourself out there is always, people who don't make art, maybe people who do make art even, but it's easy for some people to scrutinize.
Well, you had a video that was taken down where you had a butterfly in your mouth, right?
Was it moth or butterflies? Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, explain.
So in this video...
Did you put it back up, or...?
It's on Vimeo, but YouTube took it down, and I disputed it, and they refused to put it up.
Okay.
So that was, got
flagged.
The video... I made a series of videos called the Disorder Series, and it's a series of 5 videos, and each video embodies a different disorder. And one is about addiction, and in that video I eat live butterflies. I eat like 23 or 25 live butterflies, and I don't just eat them, but I like really devour them and rip off their wings and crunch through their bodies, and it's violent. And you know, and in the video I also cry and don't want to do it, and I'm continuing to do it, and realizing how terrible it is and disgusting, but I continue to do it. And to me, that to talk about addiction, that was how I needed to do that. And that, to me, that really showed the behavior. To be that destructive, to not be able to stop, and to be sad and sort of like needing to do it at the same time. I don't know. But yeah, that video is controversial for people.
Well, it's like they will not look at, for certain people that would be a trigger, you know, it'll be a trigger, and
right.
And for you it's just an expression of art. The same thing for me, it's like expression of art, and then for certain people it's a trigger just to have a pregnant man.
Yeah. I mean, like with the butterfly thing, because that has really upset a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Or people get really upset and come to me and they're like, how could you eat these innocent butterflies? That's what I hear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like one thing that I always make the distinction of in my head that seems like difficult for people to get is just that just because I do something doesn't mean I'm condoning it.
Mm-hmm.
And that you can do something and not say we should be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And so to play a character or to carry out an action within art isn't... I mean, you look at characters in movies and they might be the bad guy, but you don't think that actor is a bad guy. You know, you can understand he's playing a bad guy.
Right.
You know, not that I think that either of us did anything wrong in making our art, but just there needs to be some separation between why you did something and like I'm not going around eating butterflies every day in life.
Right, or supporting that action.
Yeah.
And I'm not going on around like I'm pregnant to everybody. I'm not telling.
Right.
I'm not I'm
walking around pretending to be pregnant all day and like, yeah.
But I yeah.
Yeah.
So now with well, whatever. So yeah, there's this distinction between are we just trying to say that there's a distinction between what we put out there as art and then actually doing, and then there's the complaint that if somebody sees it on video, it'll inspire other people to do the same thing or something. If someone thinks that's cool, then more people will think it's cool. I mean, that's oversimplifying it.
It seems like we live in a time where censorship is like really high. Where everything is being censored, and I mean, it's like, you know, part of being afraid to talk about certain things. It's, you know, I'm gonna be 36 soon, and so like just having lived through, like, I don't know, a decade ago things were very different.
Yeah.
And the language people used was very different.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, interesting to watch things change and people feel like they can say less and less.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to feel like.
Yeah.
So yes, the censor thing is scaring me a little bit. Like,
yeah.
But then there's another part of me says, relax. Things have to get extreme because certain things aren't right, like the way women are treated, obviously the way transgender people are treated, gay people, minorities. So, you know, they have to stand up. We have to hear their scream, and things might get extreme. People might get hurt by it that haven't done that much, and then it might simmer down. You know, it might relax people once they, you know, it's just like it has to balance out, right? That's
recently,
what?
I heard someone else say this exact same thing. Like things have to get extreme before they can like calm down again.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering like when in history there's an example of this. When did things, you know, like maybe there's something we could point to in the 60s and say, okay, like this had to happen, it had to be.
McCarthyism. The whole like blacklisting and stuff. It was extreme, right? You're a communist, and now people can on the street talk about communism. People can be communists.
But blacklisting people, did that help people to be able to become communist?
What do you mean blacklisting the people that were communists? They couldn't get jobs.
So maybe that's not the example I'm looking for. I guess what I'm thinking is like the way that in certain directions we're going like to an extreme, but that might simmer down. Is there another example of something that went to an extreme, but we're glad that it did because it ended up leaving us with this?
Well, I guess nobody's glad about the whole process, dealing with the process.
Right.
But it happens. Things get extreme, and then all of a sudden they dissipate, right? I mean, is there one specific thing that we were glad about? Well, I mean, the whole Me Too movement, the women's movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are happy about this whole.
Though I did read an article in like maybe it was the New Yorker, that said, I don't know if it was the New Yorker. Anyway, one of these magazines that talked about a lot of the women who came forward during the Me Too movement and the repercussions they faced in their life as a result of it.
Oh.
And that it was very difficult for them to do this, but then after they did it, initially they might have felt like a hero, or
Mm-hmm.
people might have been like, right on, but then they went on to face like discrimination in the workplace, being like ridiculed, teased, a number of things, and that their lives individually didn't improve. I think like one good thing, of all of that is that hopefully people are more conscious before they behave badly to someone. Maybe because of Me Too, they'll think, well, I can't do this terrible thing because I'll be outed, But for those individual women, at least according to this article, it was really depressing.
Well, I mean, that's interesting, but at the same time, it's like this is the truth of kind of history, because people have outed, some people have been, at least, well, the only way I could say it's better is that at least they were not killed, like if you out and you change the system, it's that's why nobody does it. But then there's a movement. Well, that's just going to inspire people to do it more, right? Then that the article that you read. But how do you at the same time, where did you read it from? What was the source?
The New Yorker.
Oh, the New Yorker. Oh.
Or New York Magazine, I think. New York, I think, I don't know.
But it didn't necessarily improve life, but I mean, what did Martin Luther King do? I mean, he got shot,
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to learn, like, even like as an artist, you're doing something for a movement, you're creating a new perspective, you're shifting the consciousness. You go out there. Not everybody's going to like what you do. And not only that, it's probably going to hurt you emotionally. I don't think you have a choice in life, really. I think we're learning to become more authentic, more yourself. Yeah, you're gonna have to. We're suffering the repercussions as we speak, So I'm learning to grow. I'm learning to. We're learning to grow as people to put stuff out there. I put a lot of stuff out there already, and I'm not 100% aware that eventually there could be some kind of repercussion,
right?
Or even for your work as well. It's just like you put stuff out, be public, and you start to realize that everybody's going through this. And then when it happens to you, of course, like when it happens to me, I'm like, I didn't do it. I get defensive, and all of a sudden, but this has been happening to everybody for the past 100 years, or even more, 1,000 years, or whatever. And it was a lot worse back then than it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still gonna receive repercussion, but you have to. That's where I guess you have to accept yourself. You did this because you felt it, and not everybody's gonna like it.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna see the way you're gonna see it.
And time is gonna change again.
And time,
like the way that things were so different a decade ago. A decade from now, things are going to be drastically different. We don't know how.
Well, I think a lot of people fear that it doesn't get so bad that it becomes like everybody's scared to talk to each other kind of environment. Like if it goes down that road.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
That's us being scared to talk. Maybe.
Scared to talk? Are you scared to talk?
No.
Let's talk. Wait, how dark? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Obviously, I wouldn't. Obviously, I won't talk about the issues that make people argue a lot, which is I won't talk about politics. No, I will talk about it. Eventually you just gotta talk about it. If you don't talk, I mean, there's moments where you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna talk about this or that and this or that, and then eventually it'll get to you, and then eventually you'll have to talk and see the repercussions. But it's all important, like, who do you talk to? And here obviously was the public. Some people are going to hear what we're talking about, and somebody's not going to like something that we're and what do you do? What do you do? You don't talk about these things on public. That's the rule of thumb. You don't talk about them in public platforms.
I think part of it, I mean, for me, is I also don't think that I know. Like, I don't think that I know the right way that things should be. I don't think I know how to run the country. I don't think I know how I know how to run the world. Like, I'm an artist. I'm not a politician. I don't know what it's like to be one. I don't know what it's like to be in that sphere. There's so many things about life I don't know. And something, like I said earlier today, that I'm more fascinated with asking people how they arrived to their conclusions, no matter what side of the spectrum they're on, you know?
Right, and learning to accept them for that. Instead of like...
just like learning how they arrived there.
Yeah, but seeing them with an open perspective rather than taking a side or something.
Yeah, and I don't have some agenda that I'm trying to convince people of, like, believe this instead. And, like, that doesn't do anything.
Right, it doesn't do anything to convince people to see your side. The only thing you can do is open people's minds about having a dialogue, having a peaceful back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Listening to each other without getting defensive.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I think, like, a lot of the two-party sides feels like, and has always felt to me like a decoy from what's really going on. I feel like
it's an illusion. It's like this game that everybody's playing.
Yeah.
And none of us are really looking at the bigger picture.
Right. And it's just like these kind of things that are given to us, the people on the ground, to squabble about.
Right.
You know, so we're all distracted, like, no, I want this, well, I want this, well, you're the, you know, and then meanwhile, way up above, like, the cultural elites or, you know, just the elites are making decisions, not taking anybody else into account, and, like, sprinkling down some things for us to argue about, and everybody's like, this is my side, this is my president, this is
or
what I want.
Or putting microchips in us without knowing. or probably on a satellite, they send microwaves into your brain if you think too much or something.
You think?
I don't know. Anything is possible now. There's technology out there that nobody knows about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's something, and then when it exposes itself, then is it going to be too late? Like, is this AI technology, you know, what is this AI technology? What are these small little nanobots? Are they so small they can go into your nose and up your brain? You don't know, right? You don't know.
Well, we all willingly carry a tracking device around with us in our pockets and, like,
right.
Tell everybody.
So why would they make microchips? It's that easy. We got the tracking device.
Yeah. One of the most dangerous things I thought when it happened was just being part of social media, like making it so public who your personal network is. Like, I can't think of anything more.
But the social media doesn't represent my social network or whatever.
Well, like
tight social.
Yeah, but
I mean, I have friends who aren't even on Facebook.
Well, you're the exception to the rule.
Like,
for the most part, if anyone wanted to be like, who's this person? Who do they talk to? Like, that information is very, very public. You know? And that to me seems like so not radical. Such a bad idea for the individual.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. But we did it. We were so entertained by it.
I don't know. I think I felt pressured.
Snooping. You felt pressured to use Facebook?
Yeah, I feel pressure. I feel like to not use social media is like almost like an antisocial act at this point. Like, why, you know?
Well, no. You use it to promote your events and stuff.
Yeah.
So do I. I mean.
Which is interesting because, like, I think the artist should be on the internet the least, because they should be acquiring information to make the art so that then they can give back this thing that's coming from like a pure unadulterated mind. But in reality, the artist uses the internet more than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Like,
look at my art. Like, especially when you're trying, like, how else are you going to put it out there? You're making it, you're putting it out there. You're making it, you're putting it out there. Like, when part of why I'm taking a break from the open mic is because, and hosting events, you know, when I was like hosting events every month, 2 a month or something, it's like so much being on Facebook, sending invites, creating an event page, promoting, and so much hours and hours of my time on the internet. And it's not like, it becomes reflexive and your brain starts to change patterns, and it doesn't feel good.
It's true. Your brain changes patterns.
Yeah.
Well, I'm addicted to putting stuff on YouTube. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I got so excited about like, oh, cool, we can have this open conversation. It'll be like metaphysical, talking about getting in deep, and that's exactly what we're doing. So I'm like, yeah, this is good. We're talking about the real problems here, you know.
Yeah.
We're going in deep. And yeah, I have to agree with you. It has affected my brain a little, because now I post something and I look at the patterns. There's the YouTube analytics, and you could check the patterns of you posting a video at a specific time and seeing if the numbers go up a little more each time. And then you consistently tell other people, check my stuff,
right,
over and 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 over.
Well, on Wednesday, I decided to not use social media that day at all, and it was just one day.
What Wednesday? Yeah, this
last Wednesday. I was like, you know what? I need a break. I forget why, but I think because I started to notice the patterns, or I realized I was doing things reflexively. So I thought I'll take a day off, and I also made the decision from now on, when I have a question, I'm not going to Google that question. Like I saw Bob Dylan play, and I was like, I wonder how old he is, and I thought
just recently.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh, no way, in New York?
Yeah.
He's pretty, how old? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know how old he is, because I never Googled it, because instead I decided I'm going to keep a notebook of all the questions that I never Googled. Because when I look at these questions, how old is Bob Dylan? Do I need to know? Does it matter? But what's actually happening is this like destructive, repetitive pattern of like, I have a question. I don't think about it. I don't wonder about it. I don't have time to get bored, inspired, ask my friends. No, I just look it up, and then I have this information. Say Bob Dylan's 78. What has that done for me? Like, what is it? Like, nothing. It's irrelevant.
Maybe it'll inspire you. Like, when I'm 78, I'll be like an artist, and I'll be making shit when I'm 78.
But I know he's old.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know he's like probably 78. You know, like I feel like he's around that age, so maybe he's 79, maybe he's 80, maybe 75. Like, it doesn't. You know, I don't need to know.
You don't need to know. I don't need to know either.
I mean, maybe you have questions.
But
You
it's
think of
like
Googling all day long, like, what's this person's sign? What's this? What's, you know, who knows? Just irrelevant stuff.
It's relevant. But I guess people are always curious about the numbers or something. Like as if numbers tell you something. As
Age.
if your age tells, like we're all spirits and soul, right? We're obsessed with details, facts that help us factor something to figure something out. But
How old are
instead
you?
of looking at you as just your spirit, you know? Or me as just my spirit. But, you know, lo and behold, I'm 40 years old. What does that make people think about me? You're like, you said you're 36.
I turned 36 in 2 days, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be your birthday.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I'm sorry.
That's okay, it's not here yet.
So, yeah, but it's like age is this factor. Like, once you're 80, are you useless? When you're 5 or 6 or 7, you're useless because you're too young or whatever. But there's nothing...
But yeah, well,
I mean, it's good to get rid of the internet because then you can just see everything as is rather than... it's fun. You're playing a game with your brain. Like, what are the things? What are the stats? How was this made? You know, go ahead. Sorry.
just like the times when I do get really quiet. Like, I'm not on the train, maybe I'm at home, I decide not to have any content flowing into my ears. No music, no YouTube videos, you know, because it's like we're all listening to content all day long. And I'm just like quiet with it. And my brain is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The thoughts, the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And
You just observe thoughts.
yeah, and they're fantastic.
Like a meditation.
Yeah. But they're really fantastic and everyone has them.
Mm-hmm.
And we miss out on them. And like, oh my God, like I know I do this a lot, but just like we're going to die someday. Like life is going to end. And like, did I want to spend it looking at a computer the whole time?
Mm.
This terrifies me.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And I look at it too much as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we look at our phones every day.
Yeah.
You know? And what is it all going to be for? I'll be dead. I won't know who knew me or my art or if my art lives on or whatever. That's kind of just like up to things, the nature of things, fate in a way. And I want to like walk. I don't want a phone in my pocket.
Uh-huh.
I really don't. And of course, like, I mean, we remember a time before all this stuff.
Right.
You know, which that memory like never has left me as this thing that feels better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which could just be like childhood, but it feels like, I don't know. Sometimes I leave my phone at home and go out to dinner. And that feels really good.
Yeah.
You know?
I do that.
Yeah. It feels like a luxury, you know? I just want to look at the sky and hear the birds and hear my thoughts, and my thoughts are rich and fantastic, and like so are yours. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's a good way to end this with just our thoughts as is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
How long?